everyone, this is Mrs. Kringle. I am bringing to you tonight a couple of book talks of some riveting survival stories that I think are edge of your seat exciting. It's a collection of both fiction and nonfiction survival stories, and my hope is that you'll find something interesting that you maybe want to check out. Many of these books I'm going to talk about tonight are available either in ebook format or audiobook format on our Overdrive system, which is our school's system of online ebooks and audiobooks. So after I'm done book talking these few titles I have tonight to share with you, I will take you over and show you how to get into Overdrive, just a reminder of how to do that. All students and staff of TF Riggs have access to Overdrive, so you can borrow any of these stories that are available on there. So I'm going to start tonight by giving you an exciting book talk on a story that is an Edgar Award winner. Edgar Awards are given to exceptional mystery writing, and this one won an Edgar Award. It is called Death Watch by Rob White, and it is the story of Ben, who is a young college student who needs money for college. In order to continue his education, he needs to make some money. So he writes up an ad for his local paper, offering his services as a hunting guide. And he is ecstatic when a business executive by the name of Maddock calls him up to hire him. He wants Ben to take him out into the Mojave Desert to hunt bighorn sheep. And Ben is only too happy to do that. He loves to hunt. He's excited about the prospect of making some money for college. And so he takes Maddock out. He gets kind of, as a tracking the sheep, he gets kind of a weird vibe from Maddock, and comes to discover that Maddock has come to the desert not really to hunt bighorn sheep, but to hunt Ben. And Ben takes off, trying to get away from a madman. Excellent read called Death Watch by Rob White. A Hope More Powerful Than the Sea. This is nonfiction. This is a memoir. It is written by a woman named Melissa Fleming. It was told to her by the subject of the book. The subject of the book is a Syrian refugee by the name of Doha Azamel, who was driven from Syria by brutal civil war. And she makes a daring escape to freedom with her husband in the West, in Europe, on an overcrowded ship run by smugglers. The ship is beset from the very beginning by rough seas, pirates, and overcrowding, and it sinks. This is Doha's ultimate nightmare. She has long her life feared the water and had never learned to swim. Her husband manages, after the ship sinks, manages to find an inflatable inner tube, almost like a pool toy. There were no life preservers on the ship. There were no safety boats on the ship. They are completely on their own in the water. He manages to secure an inner tube for her that he helps her climb into, and she drifts in the water with her husband clinging to the inner tube, and witnesses the deaths of many people around her. She's also approached, because she's one of the few that has some safety in the inner tube, by a desperate parent who asks her to take his toddler daughter and save her life, and she agrees to do that. She witnesses the death, like I said, of 500 of the immigrants that were on the ship with her, but she, including her husband, she loses her husband, and it's a terrible thing, but she makes a plan that she is going to live to save the life of the toddler who she was given to see. It's a very, very powerful story. It's called A Hope More Powerful Than the Sea. Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. This is the story of Kaya Clark, or the Marsh Girl, as she's known, of Berkeley Cove in North Carolina, who's been alone a long time. Abandoned by her parents by age 10, she has survived on her own in the marsh that she calls home. At the age of 16, she opens herself to the possibility of love and family and friendship, and attracts the attention of local hero Chase Andrews. When Chase turns up dead, Kaya is the prime suspect. But did she do it? Not If I Save You First by Allie Carter. 10-year-old Maddie, the daughter of a Secret Service agent, and Logan, the U.S. president's son, were inseparable. They were BFFs. Forever. But when an unthinkable assassination attempt on Logan's mom's life happens, Maddie's dad moves her to remote Alaska for her safety. Devastated, Maddie writes Logan letters, only to get no response from him. Telling herself she doesn't need friends, Maddie focuses on her life in Alaska and developing her outdoor skills. Her life is full. Until Logan shows up again 6 years later, stirring up feelings Maddie doesn't want. Throw an assassin who's after Logan into the mix, a nasty winter storm, and no help for miles, and you have a book you won't be able to put down. I guarantee it. The Raft by S.A. Bodine. Robbie lives on the Midway Atoll with her parents who are scientists. She has been in Honolulu, though, visiting her aunt. She decides to make a return to Midway Atoll, kind of an early end to her visit with her aunt. Something happened while she was visiting her aunt, and she's uncomfortable with Honolulu, all the people around. She wants to return to the Midway Atoll. So she decides to hop a cargo plane that is making its way to the island to bring supplies and mail. She decides to surprise her parents and doesn't call them ahead of time to let them know that she's coming. While she's up in the plane, an electrical storm comes up and it strikes the plane and the engines fail. The plane goes into crashing into the middle of shark-infested Pacific waters. Robbie survives the plane crash, along with the co-pilot, Max. The only people on the plane were Robbie, Max, and the pilot. Pilot perished in the crash, but Max hauls her into a raft, but he's not in good shape himself. He's been injured in the crash, and Robbie doesn't know where they are. She realizes the only supplies she has are a bag of Skittles. They have no fresh water. They have no bandages to help Max, who is in and out of consciousness. And Robbie's parents don't know she was on their way home, so they don't even know to look at her. They don't even know to look for her. They don't even know she's missing. Robbie is completely on her own to get herself to safety and to help save Max's life. This is called The Raft by S.A. Bodine. The Girl Who Is Supposed to Die by April Henry. She doesn't know who she is. She doesn't know where she is or why. All she knows when she comes to in a ransacked cabin is that there are two men arguing over whether or not to kill her. Join the protagonist in a race against time and try to piece together the truth as she does. Who is she, and why do people want her dead? Refugee by Alan Gratz. This is 3 stories in one. It is the story of Joseph, a Jewish boy living in 1930s Nazi Germany. It is the story of Isabel, a Cuban girl fleeing the riots and unrest of Cuba in 1994. And it's the story of Mahmoud, a Syrian boy in 2015, whose homeland is being torn apart by violence. All 3 embark on harrowing journeys in search of freedom, and discover shocking connections that their stories share. These are excellent reads. I hope that in there was something that you found that would interest you. Many of those stories that I just spoke about are available on our ebook collection on Overdrive. And to find Overdrive, you need to go to the Pierre School District homepage, which is pierre.k12.sd.us. Once you're on that page, you're going to put your mouse over the word schools. You're going to go down to where it says TF Riggs High School. And in the next pop-up menu, you're going to choose TF Riggs Library. Once you click on the library page, and I already have that tab open, so I'm just going to go right here. You're going to go to this tab right here that says Library Catalog and Overdrive. All students and staff of Riggs have access to Overdrive. You just need to have your school email and your school password to get into it. So once you're on this tab here, which again was Library Catalog and Overdrive, we're going to scroll down and you'll see a link that says TIE South Dakota School Libraries Digital Library Overdrive. We're going to click on that. This is the TIE South Dakota Schools login. So what you're going to do is select one. These are all the schools that participate in this Overdrive consortium. We are just one of many. So we're going to scroll down. We're going to find TF Riggs High School. When we click on that, we need to then click on this link that says TF Riggs High School users. Please click here to sign into this system. When you get here, you're going to be asked to put in your school email in its entirety with the @k12.st.us and your school password. Now, we participate with elementary schools, middle schools, and high schools. So you're going to see a range of materials available and it just pops up some of those. Okay, there was Refugee right there. That's pretty cool. Like I said, these are ebooks and audiobooks, so I'm going to tell you how to differentiate those. Let's go ahead and do a search on Refugee, that last book that I was just telling you about by Alan Gretz. I'm going to type in Refugee in there, and you can see on here there's a lot of books that come up, but this is the one I'm looking for right here. Now there's 2 copies of it here in Overdrive. One is an audiobook copy, and you can tell it's an audiobook because it got a pair of headphones. And the other is an ebook copy, and you can tell it's an ebook copy because it looks like an open book. In Overdrive, if you see something that is grayed out, like this pair of headphones here, that means that somebody already has it checked out, so it's not available for you right now. But if you mouse over the book, you see you can place a hold. Okay, so you can place a hold, and what will happen is when that book gets returned, it will go to the next person in line. Hopefully that'll be you. Here. But this book, because it's outlined in black, that means that it's still available to check out. So if I put my mouse over it, I can borrow that book. And when I borrow it, it will go into my, you can see I now have 2 of 3 checkouts remaining, so I can still check out 2. You can have a total of 3 at a time. It will go into my account. Okay, so if you look up here at the top of the Overdrive page, you'll see something that looks like a little person there. And that it says account. If you click on that, that will take you into your account, and you can see that Refugee is now in my account. It's due back in 21 days. Okay, I can read it now with a Kindle, I can download it, or I can read it in my browser. If I read it in my browser, it's going to open up and look just like as if I had the book in front of me. So I was in this book earlier, so it opened right up to the first page of the book, which is Joseph's story. So I can have that and read that. If I'm not planning to read it, though, I need to return this title, okay? Because there are lots and lots of kids. You saw all the schools that participate with us. There are lots of kids that may want to read this. And so if you're not going to read it, it's important to return it. Or if you've read it and then you're done with it, return it. If you don't return it, it will stay in your account for the full amount of time. For me, it's 21 days. And I changed my settings over here to make my lending period for my ebooks longer because I'm a pretty slow reader. So if you click on settings there, you'll see your lending period. For ebooks and audiobooks, it defaults to 14 days. Like I said, I'm a slower reader with books, so I like longer time, so I changed mine to 21 days for my ebooks. My audiobooks, I probably can change to 7 days because I can listen to them a lot quicker than I can read them. Okay, so you can do your changes there if you want to. So hopefully you guys, if you want to, you can go up here to the search. You can do a search on, let's type in survival. Okay. I did a search on survival. And then these are the books that popped up that are about survival. If you see this the other icon you might see in Overdrive is this orange star with a yellow check mark in it. That means that that material belongs to TF Riggs High School, and only TF Riggs students are seeing those, so you'll see some of those as well. But you can check out any of these books, whether they belong to TF Riggs High School or not, okay, just so you know. So typing in survival will get you some great stuff. So you can search any topic. You can see, I've searched World War II before. If you want to go here where there's subjects, you can search by subjects. You can see all the different subjects that you can search. And then there's collections, okay. So hopefully in here you'll find some, and these collections change all the time depending on what time of year it is. Right now they're highlighting the Prairie Pasque and Prairie Buds, so they have the Prairie nominees there. But be sure to check out Overdrive. Be sure to find a book to read, and just know that I miss all of you, and I hope you're doing well.